About this strange thing coming out of the campaign of John McCain, who you endorse, a senior top advisor has called, it's being redundant, a top advisor, and I think that narrows it down to 2 or 3 people in that campaign, has called Governor Palin a whack job, not just a diva. That's the word coming. Is this the kind of thing that happens when a party is arguing over ideology? What's going on inside that campaign that they're making these kind of comments to the press?
Chris, I don't know who made such a comment. I don't know for sure that it actually happened, so I have no idea what.
Well, I know it does, because Mike Allen's a serious reporter. When you say top aide like that, it means something. Look at this. A top McCain advisor one-ups the diva description, calling her a whack job. Mike Allen's serious business.
Well, very strange. I don't know how to explain that. That's certainly not the kind of comment you want to see coming out of a campaign.
You know what's going on in the McCain campaign, because they are sensing a defeat. They've been pushed into a corner. He's had to try to appease his base, people who weren't with him when he was running the primary. In order to get them on board, he's had to become more like Bush than George Bush is, and also to pick Sarah Palin. And now it's costing with independent voters, it's costing with conservative Democrats, and it's going to cost him this election. And the same conservatives that pushed him so far are now pulling the rug from up under him. They're pushing Sarah to become more Sarah-like. And these stories in the campaign, well, it's really shown the country a disunity even among their own ticket.
Is this a campaign that's already begun for Sarah Palin for president in 2012, that she's running past the guy that picked her already?
I don't think so.
She hasn't ditched him yet?
I don't think she's thinking that far down the road.
Right.
I think they're making an all-out...
What's the comment that she made the other day? I got nothing to lose in this race. What does that mean? I get nothing to lose, meaning I'm going to come out on top no matter what.
Chris,
that's a hell of a statement. What is the closing argument, Ed, of your candidate?
Well, by and large, Obama is able to get away with platitudes. He says things like, we're for justice, and we're for peace, and we're for prosperity. We're for unity. Unity is a platitude.
It is?
Yeah, it is.
Well, why doesn't your party use it?
And keep in mind that the
How come you guys never use it?
Well,
they used to, Chris.
Because it's not celebrated, and it doesn't get away as an applause line if McCain used it.
Republican economics, which we've been under for the last 8 years. Why would that sell now?
And right now, you're right. Republicans are not credible on the economy. He needs to make a broader point about Obama doesn't have an economic plan. He has an ideological belief that he should take money from one person and give it to another. That doesn't create wealth. That doesn't create jobs. That doesn't create an economy in which people can seek opportunity.
How does he do that? Just tell me what the method is for Obama. Explain what you mean by that.
How Obama does it, or how McCain does it?
Obama would take money from some people and give to... Who would he take from?
Well, let's take what he has said. He will take money from people that he wants to raise taxes on.
Who are they?
He told Joe the plumber.
And who would those people be?
Well, ultimately, it's all of us. He wants to raise Social Security taxes.
That is a lie. That is a lie.
He wants to raise...
Ed,
no,
it's a lie.
He wants
it's a lie, and I'm not going to let you say it. It's a lie.
On capital gains and interest income.
Okay, slow down.
It's not a lie at all.
Okay, your point is he wants to take from everybody.
And you know why it's not working? You know why it's not working?
He wants to give to people that support it.
It's not working. It's not working for a simple reason that Chris alluded to in the last segment. People are not interested in these abstract. You know, Ed, you talked a long time. Let me talk. People are not interested in these abstract discussions about progressive income tax. People are for the progressive income tax. They know that Obama gives a tax cut to everybody under $200,000 and to 95% of the American people. And you know what? You're ashamed to say who would pay more, because the people who would pay more are the people at the top. They would pay slightly more what they paid under Bill Clinton, when, by the way, we created a lot of jobs and had a very prosperous
economy that suggests a tax increase is the solution. We need job creation. We need to cut the corporate income tax.
Well, is it better to borrow more money from China or to raise taxes? What's better?
What's better?
Because you have to do one or the other.
Better? No, you don't.
Where do you get this money from?
Grow your way out of it. You can grow your way out of the deficit. That's what we did before.
The problem is that, Ed, I wish that were true. The problem is right now, nobody's borrowing money, nobody's lending money. Our economic situation is at a standstill. We got a real challenge out there, and I just wonder what kickstarts it.
And what is the problem where raising taxes is the solution in today's economy?
He is giving a tax cut to the middle class. He is putting taxes back to the level for the very wealthiest. Ed, let me finish. I am being honest. You guys have been lying for the last month, consistently because you can't win this on a straight up and down economic choice. And in fact, McCain's own people said we can't win on the economy.
You agree. What I find fascinating, and you guys have all, like I have been watching these polls all our lives practically, when the Democrats have broken even with the Republicans on the tax issue, which has always been your party's strength. What's your problem? How come that happened? How come his argument, whatever it is winning?
Because we are not credible on the economy. We have an incumbent that is at 10% job approval on the economy. Even though McCain
he cut taxes, he did everything you said a Republican should do, and this is where we're at.
How philosophical do you want to get?
No, I'm just saying where we're at because of Republican policies.
McCain is a legitimate opponent of the status quo in Washington, period. He should get credit for that. He always has been. He's not for more of the same.
He said he supports the Bush
more of the same, plus some. Plus some. A pro-growth economic philosophy. Obama doesn't have an economic philosophy. He has an ideological philosophy of redistributing the wealth. He does.
Oh, come on.
Let me ask you, Bob Shrum. Do you think Barack's going to do that? Will he put together a solid centrist team to push his agenda? What kind of administration do you think he'll put together?
I think he'll be a pragmatist if he wins. I think he will have Republicans in the cabinet. I think he'll propose national health care reform, and I think he'll give tax cuts to the middle class. And I think people will say that's pretty much what we want. And then he's going to have to go on and face some of the big challenges that we have, which is how do we prepare to compete with China, India, educate our kids, stuff like that.
Everything that's easy to be done in Washington has been done.
Well,
we need a president who can do hard things. He's never done one hard thing in his life. He said
that's not true. You know what? Let me tell you something. Somebody from the South shouldn't say that a black person running for president's never done a hard thing in their life.
Don't you even go there. Okay. Obama's never done one hard thing in his life.
No, I do this, Bob.
What?
Back to Hardball time for the sideshow. First up, remember that old line about, have you stopped beating your wife? Well, take a look at these lashings from an anchor woman in Orlando, Florida, directed at VP candidate Joe Biden. They're the hit of the Internet.
How is Senator Obama not being a Marxist if he intends to spread the wealth around?
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
No.
Or is that a real question?
That's a question.
He is not spreading the wealth around. He's talking about giving the middle class an opportunity to get back the tax breaks they used to have.
Are you forewarning Americans that nothing will be done and that America's days as the world's leading power are over?
No, I'm not at all. I don't know who's writing your questions, but let me make it clear to you. The fact of the matter is that everyone has acknowledged, from Colin Powell on, that the next president of the United States is going to be tested, whether it's John McCain or it's Barack Obama.
Let me get this straight. Marxism, socialism, has it come to this? The candidates are guilty of being communists and socialists unless they can disprove the charge on the spot. In other words, when someone calls you a Marxist or a communist, as a Florida Republican senator just did to the Democratic candidates, you've got to go on television and clear yourself? Well, here's someone who's getting a good rep these days. Michelle Obama on Jay Leno last night, displaying her charms.
Wednesday, he's airing this... he's on all the networks.
Oh, the commercial. Yeah.
The commercial. I don't know what they're calling it, but he's all over the place. So he's describing this to my mother. We're at the kitchen table. And Malia sort of overhears it. She's 10. She says, "You're going to be on all the TV?" She said, "Are you going to interrupt my TV?" And he said, he's sitting like this. He says, "No, we didn't buy time on Disney and Nick." And she said, "Oh, good." And she got up and walked away. That's about it. She's just like, don't mess with my TV.
Now, I want to ask you about your wardrobe. I'm guessing about 60 grand? 60, 70,000 for that outfit?
Actually, this is a J. Crew ensemble.
Really? Wow. There you go.
Now I buy pants at J. Crew. Time now for the big number. Despite yesterday's conviction on 7 counts, Senator Ted Stevens says he's going to fight on in his tough re-election race. Not an easy feat. In fact, just how many times has a senator convicted of a felony fought re-election? 1. His name's Ted Stevens. And he's doing it with the 2 Republican candidates for president and vice president, McCain and his fellow Alaskan Governor Sarah Palin, calling for him to go right now. Stevens' bid, by the way, the first time a convicted U.S. senator has sought re-election. Tonight's big number. Welcome back to Hardball. Before I go any further, Bob Shrum took a shot at Ed Rogers before we went off the air in that last segment. I have to tell you, you don't go after a guy because of his geography and being Southern and using that against him on ethnic or racial issues. Unacceptable. Anyway, what has been the effect of President Bush's unpopularity on the Republican brand name? Joining me right now is Republican strategist Michelle Laxalt and Democratic strategist Tad Devine. Two excellent people to talk about this.
Yes. Is Ted Stevens a different case? Yes. Am I prejudiced? He was my first boss. I know Ted Stevens. Ted Stevens is an honest man. And the people of Alaska are not going to rely upon a jury in the District of Columbia to tell them whether they were right or wrong about the man. I will bank on that, absolutely.
He gets reelected.
I believe he'll be reelected, and he will also win on appeal.